Welcome, everyone.
Blite Nation, what's good?
And Vito and Liz coming at y'all once again.
Don't mind me, I was just getting some water. Y'all gotta hydrate. It's hot as hell out here, y'all. But
time is up and people are angry.
Okay. All right, y'all. Bear with us. We got a 13-minute video, but I don't know. I got mixed feelings. I know Vito probably got feelings. Liz probably got feelings.
Let's just get into the video.
Because you know how long.
Let's hit us, Doc Rich.
Let's get it going, Doc.
Fox News alert. I just spoke to the President of the United States. I have some new information and breaking details to share about tonight's what is historic air campaign. Now, tonight, Iran's nuclear ambitions, they are officially dead. It appears the United States just completely obliterated Iran's top secret Fordo nuclear facility with 6 huge bunker buster bombs. It was originally speculated that you would only need 2. It turns out they used 5 to 6 dropped from America's stealth B-2 bombers. And that's not all. 2 other major Iranian nuclear sites, Natanz and Esfahan, were wiped out with 30 Tomahawk missiles launched by American submarines some 400 miles away. Everyone is out of harm's way for now. That does not mean that American assets in the region are not at risk, and we are monitoring the Iranian response or potential response all throughout the night.
Turn thinking about your bathroom into loving it with Floor & Decor.
We need to fix that.
Yeah.
Man, time's up, I guess. Time is up. And according to the report...
I know he's about to get into that, explaining. According to the reports, all 3 nuclear sites were destroyed. Now, I do not want war. I hate war. War is not on the table for me at all. Boots on the ground would be, if boots on the ground end up going into Iran, American soldiers in Iran, I'll be pissed. But as to just using our military might to make strikes, precision strikes to take out nuclear sites, yeah, I'm okay with that. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's one of those countries that they might not be the one that fires it, but the second they get it, they're handing it off to somebody else who's crazy enough to use it.
Mm-hmm. So is that the reason why Trump did that?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
I'm sure Doc's about to give us his opinion on this. I'm curious to see how Doc feels about this.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it too.
What are your feelings so far?
Is there any casualties when that
Whoever was in the facilities at the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was all around it is dead. Probably.
Sure there was 0 Americans killed in this operation. The planes weren't even fired upon on their exit. So as long as no American lives are cost and all we did was strike and boots were not on the ground and there's no invasion planned, I'm okay with this for now. But if this gets worse and boots are on the ground, I'm not going to be happy. That's where I stand on this right now.
I think you're just in the beginning of it.
probably?
You're just in the beginning. This ain't over.
They said the same thing when he killed Soleimani. He took out their lead top general.
That's true.
And the same thing said, World War III is happening. Iran's going to do a massive retaliation. It was a little boop, boop from them.
So, all we can, honestly, is just going to be time going to tell.
Oh, you're all right on that. But I'm saying let's hold the phone and wait a few days before and see the response and what happens here. You know what I mean?
I do. So I get the point that you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I get that. I fully do get that. But at the same time, people are going to be pissed if it ends up being like we go on ground. People are going to be pissed about it.
Mm-hmm. If this ends up being another Iraq, yeah, people are going to be pissed.
People are going to be pissed.
But as of now, we're not there. We're not there yet. People are getting pissed about what might happen. That's what I mean. We need to relax and we
Yeah.
have to see what happens next.
It's really going to depend on how Iran retaliates.
Exactly.
So they could have used that against us, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Or they could have pretty much sold that
To somebody else to use
somebody
against us.
else, and then they could have used it to another
Yeah, they're gonna hand it off to the Lebanese rebels.
to destroy
They'll hand it off-
another
Yeah.
country or
Or to
destroy
fire
this
anybody.
country. Like, okay, I was just trying to
Yeah.
to understand the
Iran
the
itself might
reason.
not ever fire the weapon just because
They might sell it to somebody.
Yeah. They'll sell it to the Houthi rebels who will use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see where Doc is at.
Yeah.
Reports this was a flawless execution on this. Flawless.
It's 14 total bombs under total stealth. Not a single shot fired, says Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Dan Kane, saying that no missiles were launched, no shots fired at our mission, no Iranian planes got airborne. They simply didn't see it. I want to bring back the special report anchor and our executive editor, Brett Baer. Brett, it's remarkable, these details, to learn that we literally got in and out without really being detected, hit all targets. It just strikes you at really the dominance. We heard from Secretary Hegseth, the unmatched capability of the American military, but boy, you really got to see it here, and likely sending a message to those that would do us harm.
Not a single shot fired back. Not a single shot fired back. Interesting. And you know, the crazy part about this is Uncle Trump actually spoke about this previously. He basically said that whenever he does authorize a strike on anyone, he ain't gonna say anything beforehand.
Our pillar of our new strategy is a shift from a time-based approach to one based on conditions. I've said it many times how counterproductive it is for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, so he doesn't believe in announcing anything, which honestly, I think that's the right strategy, right? Regardless of whether or not you agree with the bombings that happened, but I don't think if we're actually going to do something that we should announce anything ahead of time. It kind of defeats the purpose, in my humble opinion. Now, I do want to play this clip of Bernie Sanders, who was giving a speech to a bunch of leftists.
What's up?
What do you think about that?
Well, I would like
Announcing before you do something.
Well, I got mixed feelings about it because I remember when we were going after bin Laden, Bush made the mistake of saying we're coming to get him, which gave them time to move bin Laden.
Exactly.
Obama didn't say it. He just said go. Like, he didn't make the announcement. He just went and said go. He told the military go get him.
Exactly.
So that I can understand. I think the biggest thing right now, you don't know how they're gonna respond. I do think they're going to.
Oh yeah.
You just don't know what it's going to be. And I think that's the scary part.
No, you know what's not scary? You know what I do know? They're not going to respond with a nuke.
That's true.
Anything they respond with, we have the capabilities to shoot down and counteract anyway.
Right.
But what we do know is they will not be firing a nuke. That's the side nobody's talking about. Yeah, they're going to retaliate with things that we know how to counteract and can shoot down.
Is there anybody else that got a nuke right now?
Russia, China, India, Pakistan.
I ain't trying to say, I ain't trying to manifest nothing. I just hope no one goes, hey, Iran, you want some help?
I believe Germany has nuclear capabilities.
I just hope no one goes to try to help Iran.
Anything
Be like,
Russia
yo.
and China already said they won't.
Wait, say that again?
Russia and China already said they're not. Putin's got enough to deal with Ukraine.
Yeah, that's true.
And China doesn't want to escalate tensions even more against the U.S.
That's true.
Not for Iran. Iran doesn't supply enough oil to them for that to matter.
Damn.
Especially when Russia's the largest gas station in the entire world, and that's who's supplying China anyway. That's where they get most of it. The only one that benefits from China not being able to get Iranian oil is Russia. So why would Russia help Iran? When they need more money anyway.
Yeah.
So you see? And China is not going to help Iran with threat of pissing off Russia because they need Russia to supply them with fuel. Trump's not stupid with what he did here. But again, I don't want to see boots on the ground.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Boots on the ground is my line. And I believe that is about 90% of Americans' line. Because even polls I've seen, 80% of Americans, not Republicans, 80% of Americans, that's Democrats included.
You
We're
don't
okay
want
with
to be
strikes.
in Iraq for another, like, you don't want to be like we end up.
We don't want another 30 years.
Yeah, another 30-year war.
No. Not in Iran. Not going to happen. But we'll see where it goes from here. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Who was giving a speech to, a bunch of leftists. And during that speech, they found out what had happened and that Uncle Trump had authorized a strike on Iran. And listen to the crowd's response.
Dick's epic
We're gonna
4th of
fix
July
this,
sale
don't
is
worry.
on. Take 20% off bond bags and igloo coolers. 25% off.
We just bombed Iran. Oh, that just gave me the chills. I'm scared.
All right, let me conclude.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh dear God.
I don't put it this way. I don't think you're overreacting for being scared.
No.
I don't like if anybody
okay to be
says
scared.
like, oh, people are overreacting. I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're okay to be scared.
You're perfectly natural to be scared of shit.
Especially if you have sons or daughters or family in the military.
Exactly.
right
Yeah,
now.
I 100% think you have every right to have fear right now.
This is a statement from Donald Trump. Quote,
Oh dear God.
we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, etc.
You probably got military families there. That's why.
Are you kidding me? No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war!
Let him finish.
It's interesting that they're cheering that no more war, but when we were all saying, hey, let's get out of this Ukraine situation, they were all saying the complete opposite. It's almost as if whatever Trump says, they just want to go against it. It doesn't matter what he
Doc's
says.
got a good point
Trump
there.
could come up with the cure to cancer and they'll say...
He's got a great point there. Why is that okay? Why is it okay to keep sending resources and striking and doing stuff over there for Ukraine? We hit Iran and all of a sudden it's crazy.
All right, you can pick apart my argument, but I think the reason... How long were we in Iraq for? Like freaking 20-something years?
Yep.
A lot of people died in the Iraq one.
Yep.
Like, did any Americans die in the Ukraine? Like, how many Americans?
But you're getting to a point where we don't have boots on the ground in Iran. I know where you're going, but the argument can't happen until we actually he's landing troops in Iran. Your argument is 3 steps ahead that we're not.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from, but that's we can't even make that assumption yet until there's even the threat of boots on the ground.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't think the Ukraine war, the Ukraine and Russia, like I get we're allies with Ukraine. I didn't think the Ukraine and Russia was our battle. Just like I didn't think, like I didn't think the crap going on between between Iran and
Israel.
I didn't think that was our war either.
No.
That had nothing to do with us either.
But Iran getting a nuclear weapon does involve us.
That does involve us.
But all we hit was nuclear sites. That's what I'm saying. That you just said it. All we hit was nuclear sites.
All we did hit was nuclear. But see, that's not the way. To me, that's not the way Iran gonna take it.
Of course not.
Yeah, Iran's gonna be like, all right, y'all want to shoot some shit? Let's do this.
And we will respond in kind.
Yeah, that's
what you just said it. They can't have a nuclear weapon.
They can't.
All we hit was a nuclear sites.
Honestly, I wish no country at all had a nuclear weapon. I wish in a perfect world, nobody has a nuclear weapon
except us. So that way, we are the only ones that have the power. I'm sorry, I'll never wish for my own country to be less powerful. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
One question: How did Trump find out that they had a nuclear weapon? Or did they always have that nuclear weapon?
Nuclear capabilities. They have the ability because they've been enriching uranium to levels that are at or near atomic level. That's intelligence. Our intelligence agencies were telling them this.
Okay.
So once you enrich uranium to a certain level, that means it's weapon grades. That means all you have to do is put it into a missile and you have a nuclear weapon.
Oh, okay.
But now everybody's starting to get it. Germany got them, America got them.
Yeah, because that means that they're going to use it. That's why he had to stop it before.
Because they'll actually use it. NATO countries won't use it. France wouldn't use theirs. Mutually assured destruction right now is why nobody in the world does it. Otherwise, Russia would have already used it on Ukraine and been done with this. You know what I mean? Ukraine's not part of NATO. Technically, they're not violating any treaty if they dropped a nuke on Ukraine. Why haven't they? You know what I mean, Ian?
I see what you mean. I think my biggest thing when it comes to wars and stuff is like, to me, I think Putin, I'm the type of person, I'm like, Putin, leave Ukraine alone because like they don't vibe with, they don't like you.
But that's what Iran is in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia doesn't like them. The Qatarians don't like them, even though that's another thing, but we won't get into that. But the Egyptians don't like them.
There's a lot. I think the one constant, like there's a lot of fear right now.
Oh yeah,
because people don't know what's getting ready to happen,
and you're definitely okay to be scared. Right?
Yeah, people and like.
But dude, we got to give it the 48-hour rule.
We do. We got to wait. You got to see what's going to happen.
But again, at least Iran's not going to answer with a nuke. That's true. All I'm saying.
Nope, we don't want it here. We don't want it. We don't want it. Get it out of here. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. And you know, regardless of what you think about these strikes, I just want to play a couple of clips from some Iranians and their perspective on what is actually happening and what's going on. So let's jump into a little bit of that.
What's up, my people? Just wanted to share with y'all that the Islamic regime in Iran, the Islamic government, shut down the internet for over 12 hours right now, so we haven't heard anything of our families and friends. And remember, this is not America, this is not Israel doing this. This is a fucking government in Iran. This is an Islamic regime. And y'all wonder why we hate them? They've been doing this to my people for 47 years. We are worried for the political prisoners. We are worried for our regular people because we think that since they're losing the war to Israel, they might just take their fucking revenge on our own people. And y'all wonder why we hate them? Why my people are cheering on Israel to bomb them? And then we do have some people that come to us and ask us, why are you happy that Israel is bombing Iran? Israel is not bombing Iran. Israel is bombing IRGC and the Islamic regime, their bases, their members.
Yep.
And yes, my people love that. My people hate the government. We've been trying to take them down for 46 years and they killed us. They killed us so many fucking times. They killed our kids. So don't fucking tell us that bullshit.
So,
I can understand that.
When you hear stuff like that, it truly gives you
that right there. It's the Iranian government that we attack, not the Iranian people. I feel so bad for the Iranian people. He just said it. We're hitting military bases, military sites.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going after the Iranian people. We're going after the Iranian government.
So making sure that there's no casualties while he hit the nuclear thing.
That's why it was precise military strikes.
Because then that is starting war right there. If you hitting,
you hit civilians, then that's
See, that's my concern of what the Iranian government's going to do.
The Iranians already hit an Israeli hospital before this happened.
I think my fear is like the Iranian government is going to hit American citizens.
Oh.
I think that's my fear.
Nothing they have can reach us before we shoot it down, bro.
That's true, but it only takes one person, like...
It only takes them hitting one American ship, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. But we have the strongest Navy in the world.
That's true.
So.
Not to say that you don't already have an appreciation for being an American, but it gives you even more of that, like whew. Some of the things that people have to deal with in other countries, right? Stuff that we know nothing about, have zero experience in, even though leftists all the time try to, Trump's a dictator. Go to some of these other countries and live under a real dictator.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be shouting that Trump was a dictator. I guarantee it. Trump is a true leader. But there's more. Check it out. Actually, here, let's play this clip.
Our Muslim brothers and sisters in Yemen are dying and in desperate need of your help.
This is my experience going to school and growing up in Iran. In Iran, you're not allowed to criticize the government in any shape or form. And if you do, they're going to kill and torture your family. So I remember before I started first grade, my mom, she sat me down and she was like, hey, you're not allowed to say anything bad about the government, like how we talk about it at home, to your friends or school, or they're going to come after us. So that's when I started to become aware of this sense of fear and paranoia and watching.
I don't see any difference between that and Nazi Germany. I don't see what's the difference.
But people call Trump a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything. Like, I don't know. I'm not going that far. No. I may disagree with the man on things, but I'm not saying.
They said he was worse than Hitler, bro.
Like, but the way like that is like for the Iranian government, like, I don't. What's the difference?
Can't speak freely.
My words, and then in school, they force you to wear the hijab as part of the uniforms, and that was something, as a kid, like, imagine being forced to wear something when you don't even know why. And also, that's when they start to enforce the religion. So even if your family's not really Muslim or not traditional, that's part of the curriculum. You have to memorize the Quran in another language to be able to pass the grades. It's all in every grade. And I remember like crying as a kid because it was like in a whole nother language and they wanted me to like memorize the verses and I didn't understand why. And like they would always like instill fear in you, like, Allah is gonna do this to you, God is gonna do this to you, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna burn in hell, this is how hell is like. And I was like, dang, like, not the God I talk to every night, that's like, even as a kid I was aware, okay, like, this is all, something is not adding up here, because the God I felt in my heart and talked to was about love, and it's a whole different story. But another thing is that the schools are segregated by gender. Like, boys and girls are separated from the first grade all the way to like college, university. They're separated. So I remember I went to school in Iran in middle school, elementary school. So I remember in middle school, like everybody's segregated, and that's when like your hormones start to kick in. That's when people start having.
Yeah, because in the fallback from that is you do that, then by the time like a man is like 18, 19 years old, you don't know how to talk to a girl right. Because you've been separated from him for so long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Like, that's crazy.
Having crushes.
First grade to college.
And I think, like, them segregating us backfired because, like, the girls would have crushes on other girls, They low-key turn us gay.
Oh man, interesting stuff. Interesting
That's crazy.
stuff. You know, I've come across several of these videos of Iranians talking about how living in Iran wasn't that great of a situation. And here's another clip.
We're living in a country that provides us so much safety, so much privilege, so much comfort that people don't even know what it's like to live in other parts of the world. And because, you know, the world has been saturated with so much disinformation, this disinformation that was heightened particularly after October 7th, where there was this narrative that, you know, these terrorists are just freedom fighters and they're not that bad. It normalized this idea that actually these regimes in other parts of the world are not that bad and maybe they're not even that different to the United States. Then you have people who are living in the lap of luxury saying things like living in the United States is exactly the same as living in Iran. Well, it's not anything like living in Iran because in Iran they are hanging people.
Whoopi Goldberg said that. That was crazy.
Bruh.
That was crazy when you said that.
Has she stepped foot over there?
Bruh.
To
She
say
never
that?
been to Iran. You kidding me?
Bro, this is like, okay. Like, it's not funny to be doing this, but it's like.
That's such a stupid comparison.
I've never traveled outside the United States. I've never. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, let me tell you what life in Canada's like. Let me tell you what life in Germany's like. Let me tell you, I don't mean to just go off the internet, but I feel like I can say an educated enough statement that it's a lot more safer in America than it is in the Middle East.
Yeah, I think you can say that.
I think I can say that. Okay, like with everything going on, I saw on X this morning, WWE is going to be in Saudi Arabia like next week.
Yep.
I'd be a little nervous if I was traveling to Saudi Arabia next week. I'd be a little nervous. Like I'm not gonna lie, but right now I'm not even religious like that, y'all. I'm hoping for the best for any American assets you got in the Middle East right now. Especially anywhere near Iran. But to say that
it's just like living in.
I'm not saying all that.
I don't think people are knocking down the door to get into Iran.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Anything like living in Iran because Iran, they are hanging people from cranes statistically once every 6 hours.
That's
just
crazy.
2 weeks ago, they amputated 2 people's arms because they were accused of theft. Did they have due process? Did they have fair trial?
That's
No, that
crazy.
does not exist under the Islamic regime in Iran. When protesters came out in the streets to protest against this regime, which is our unequivocal right under the Constitution in the United States, did they get met with the same treatment? No, they were shot to death and they had their eyes shot out as punishment. So my response is, how dare anybody compare the life that they're fortunate enough to live in the United States to what Iranian people are going through now and have been going through for the past 46 years.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, we're not a utopia. We're not perfect.
Compared to the rest of the world,
we got issues. But you're not getting your eyes shot out and crap.
Compared to Iran, this is utopia.
Amputated. They're not cutting off your arms.
When you're comparing America to Iran,
listen,
America's a utopia.
You're getting due process over here, and you're not getting your arms cut off for stealing.
In other countries, they set a person on fire, and people are just standing around watching that. When they torture people for doing something wrong, imagine if you haven't done nothing, and they're accusing that person. That I saw him, but he actually didn't do it. They torture the living crap out of the person. They don't just shoot him and kill him right there. No, they torture people.
All about as much pain they can put in still.
I've heard stories of different countries of Guatemala too, where I'm half Guatemalan, and I'm like, I don't want to go over there.
Nah, but it's crazy. If
and this is somebody on fire over here, they're gonna call the cops. They're gonna be ambulance. They're gonna be fire trucks and stuff like that coming over here.
But what I don't get is if you look at all the countries who are beefing with each other right now, at the end of the day, what are y'all fighting over? Religion and dirt?
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Like, what are you fighting over?
Middle East is
whose religion is better?
It's all about power.
That's exactly what it's
That's like literally, you're fighting over who believes in God and who doesn't.
It's about
That's literally what y'all are fighting over.
It's about power.
Y'all can't just mind your business. We got all these world leaders who are beefing. All like there's 8 billion, 9 billion people on the planet, and we all gotta freak out and be concerned because we got some leaders out here who want to have global ego competitions. Because y'all can't get y'all shit together.
But don't forget, all the countries are different of how the way you're being raised.
That's true.
There's countries that they're from little kids, tiny kids.
They're trained to hate.
Training to hate, the other country, putting that into their brain. You can't blame people, especially that they were brainwashed from little. It's how the way they were raised. That's why the war continues and continues because they're still doing that.
Exactly.
It sucks.
Like she just said it. 6 years old, first grade. They're instilling this in these kids.
Yeah, no one's born like hateful.
No, you're taught.
No,
to hate.
You're taught it.
You taught.
But like I noticed that this week, and I'm like, we really all got to be afraid because we got dictators who just want to keep having ego competitions.
Yep.
That's it.
That's all it is.
It's ego. Y'all men, okay, some of these men out here want to keep proving day after day how strong they are. It's like, bro, we got the same 24 hours. Everyone has to eat. You don't all have to believe in the same thing. But damn, you don't need to be torturing people because someone doesn't believe in the Muslim religion the same way you do. Move on. Okay, my neighbor next to me might be heavily Christian. If I'm not Christian, okay, I just don't get it.
That's because we're so used to living in a world where our next door neighbor can have a different belief and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
Ian, our lives are so saturated, it's not even funny.
Like
our lives,
we don't realize how good we have it.
Exactly, and
yeah,
we have it really good compared to other countries of how the way that if you say something wrong, they torture your ass.
We have it so good we can complain about our country, and we get to wake up the next day in our bed.
And
exactly.
this is one thing that makes me mad.
We could even burn the American flag if we wanted to. We still wake up
alive,
yeah,
and doing whatever we want to do.
Like, it's crazy, man.
Go to Iran and burn the Iranian flag. See how quickly that lasts.
And like, don't get me wrong, I think it's a beautiful thing that you should fully be able to speak against any authoritative figure in the United States.
Of course.
You should be, if you disagree with their policies or disagree with their point of views, you should be able to speak against them. And no way should you be inciting violence. None of that.
Nope.
But like, I've lived in America my entire life, but it's like, bro, you don't see people getting their eyes gouged over just saying they don't like the government.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think some of y'all realize how good it is here. Like, yes, we got cracks we got to fix, but like,
it's for reasons like that. It's why Trump fired on Iran.
Like,
so we can keep our way of life going. Because imagine if one of our cities got hit with a nuke. What do we got to do then, Ian?
Shoot. It's going to be like Mad Max, man.
Because once we fire, everybody else is firing.
Firing, exactly.
Oh, look. He's puckering up.
The past
Doc Low kisses to the
Wow. Woo! Man, that is terrible. That right there, man. Could you imagine living under that? Like, genuinely, like how terrified on a daily basis you actually would be, you know? You don't like your leadership, but you can't say anything. You can't really do anything about it, because if you do, you know how you're going to end up. 6 feet in the dirt. That is wild, man. And just to think that there's a bunch of leftists today who were out in the streets recently, and some of them still out in the streets, yelling and screaming that Trump is a dictator and America is terrible. Meanwhile, you got people in other countries who are having to go through what you just heard that young lady describe. That is wild. Wild. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. You know, like I said, it truly gives you an even deeper appreciation for being an American.
Yep.
You know, the fact that we're allowed to disagree. And we do disagree. I have disagreed with Uncle Trump, and I wasn't thrown in prison, right? I wasn't harmed in any way, shape, or fashion. The FBI didn't come banging on the door. Hey, exactly. Let us in. You know, we're coming in. None of that. None of that. But according to the left, Trump is a dictator, which makes absolutely no sense. Those folks have no idea what they're talking about, and have never. And listen, even though I disagree with them, I hope none of them ever have to experience what this young lady just talked about in that last clip that you just saw. But man, they need to be exposed to it. That's for sure. Because I think if a lot of these leftists were exposed to some of the atrocities that actually go on this planet, they wouldn't be out in these streets protesting every 2 seconds saying Trump is a dictator. They wouldn't. I guarantee they wouldn't. But anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this. Do you agree with Uncle Trump's decision? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Talk to me about your thoughts and your feelings about this, all right? Get in the comments. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.
Bye-bye.
Atlas AI.
So, yes, the situation is scary right now. But this week, I'm going to talk about why I've been a little pissed off about things. Is everybody is freaking out about this, which I get. Did anybody forget that we literally just had a political assassination in our own country like a week ago?
1 week ago.
And no one's talking about it.
Nope.
No one. That's okay though.
Yeah, apparently.
Do y'all not realize?
Yeah.
Because when it's Democrat on Democrat like that, the media tries to sweep it away as quickly as possible because they don't want the people to know the Democrats are violent.
We just put two. It was a legislator, right?
Yeah.
Minister.
Did you see the letter that came out that said Tim Walz told him to do it? He wrote a letter to the FBI saying Tim Walz told him to do it. So yeah, that's another video for another.
But that's
But you're right.
We had a political assassination in the United States of America less than what? It was a couple weeks. Was it this week or last week? I think it was last week.
Last Saturday.
Yep. And y'all aren't even talking about that anymore.
Nope.
That's old news. That's crazy.
24-hour news cycle.
No one addressed that. No one addressed that at all.
24-hour news cycle, my friend.
That's okay.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But I think all in all, I think the situation. I get why a lot of people are concerned right now, especially if you're in a military family.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. If you got family serving overseas right now, especially in the Middle East, wishing them the best. I hope they stay safe. We don't know what's gonna happen. We gotta wait and see. I hope things don't escalate. But I'll be honest, I won't be surprised if they do, because you don't know how the Iranian government's gonna take it. But yeah, the Iranian people should not be villainized, especially if they disagree with their government. We have some scary times, man.
We're not mad at the Iranian people; it's the Iranian government.
Yeah, and of course, I don't want any form of war. I don't want any wars at all.
No, I don't want any wars either.
I'll take surgical strikes over boots on the ground, though.
I get it. You don't want them to have a nuke. I do get that. Especially to a government that has... the Iranian government has said death to America before, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been screaming it in their parliament all week.
So
yeah.
I mean, let us know.
That's why. I guess that's why he probably did that. Because
what was it on Friday? And just Friday, they burned an American flag and chanted "Death to America" inside their parliament.
So
yeah, that was a video that went viral on Friday. They just did that.
Listen, man, time is gonna tell right now, honestly. But I'm just hoping for the best.
That's all we can do right now.
That's all honestly we can do. Whether you disagree, however you feeling, I know. Now this, I feel like this is the time for people. Yeah, you can be in your emotions.
Oh yeah,
this is you can definitely feel a type of way.
You're definitely allowed to have your feelings
about this. Like I get it.
Anyone that tells you you're crazy not to feel something about this, you're insane.
Yeah, nah. If you scared, especially if you like a major American cities, I get it. If you're a little worried about an attack, like I get it.
Like I said though, where are they gonna fire? Most of their missile capabilities have already been destroyed by Israel. We just took out their new nuclear facility, so they can't even create the nuclear weapon. We destroyed their enrichment capabilities, even if it sets them back a year or two. It just means that we can keep destroying them.
I just don't like seeing terrorism and violence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, but Iran's the chief reason that terrorism even exists. They're the ones that fund it. Most of the money and most of the attacks that have always happened on American soldiers have come from Iran or Iran-backed proxies. Most of the deaths that happen to American soldiers in Yemen or Libya or Lebanon.
Damn. Guys, let us know what you think in the comment section.
I'm sure people have a lot of different opinions.
Yeah, let us know what you think. I know it's a crazy time right now, but keep your head up, stay positive. Hopefully things are going to be okay. Hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Like, comment, subscribe, blow us up. Y'all know what to do.
Thanks for stopping and spending some time today. Hit that notification bell, give it a share because it does help the channel out.
Please and thank you all.
See you guys in the next one. Later.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.